welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders, in green our Category 2, in blue Category 3 and Category 4 in red.
Francis at the moment continuing to drill this on the front. I'm not sure what Scott Francis's plans are today, but it seems to be turn the switch on, turn the switch off, turn the switch on. He's going through the Ghent City Sprint, and that's why the switch is on at the moment.
I expect this pace now to drop a little bit, and for there not to be quite as frantic a race maybe here in Category 1 in the first 6k, which guarantees it will be nice and quick.
Well, you can guarantee it will be nice and quick, because take a look at that pack. Bang from the gun, going on the B of Bang.
The 2 leaders really putting in a big effort here. They are trying to make the most of this gap. The group behind, they're still having a chat. That is not a chasing group. We're not going to call it a chasing group. We are going to call it the group behind, because that is not a chase. He's on the attack. He's on the front. Are you seeing the man who is going to take his title back at the weekend in action, or are you seeing somebody doing too much too soon? This has been sprung clear by the move by Mr. X100, by the response from McCarroll, who is in here. You've got Betty's been able to answer this. This is danger time. Everybody behind could be giving away a top 5 position here. The rider he wants is just in front, taking that left-hand turn. 14 seconds. We're at 43.3k. We finish at 45. This is going to be a pursuit on the way into the finish.
Can Betty hold it? That's the banner. That's the UCI banner. Can Giselle Betty hold the chasing pack? They are coming at pace, but Giselle Betty is going to take the win today on the Sunday Race Club in Belgium.
Madame, messieurs, bonjour, ravi de vous retrouver sur MyWhoosh pour ce Sunday Race Club catégorie. Au départ, la catégorie 4 en rouge, les bleus de la catégorie 3, la catégorie 2 en vert et bien sûr la catégorie 1 en jaune avec les rouges qui vont ouvrir le bal.
Un homme en tête, c'est un néo-zélandais, c'est Scott Francis qui a bien envie de faire du mouvement dans cette course. Magnifique maillot de Henry Huys qui nous rappelle ici les plus beaux maillots de Mario Cipollini, hein. C'est vraiment le cousin éloigné de Mario Cipollini, le sprinter italien. Attention à Riccardo Panizza, l'italien, et du champion du monde en titre e-sport, Björn Andreasen. Et derrière, on ne laisse pas aller, puisque c'est Stéphane Van Alst, un autre belge, Stéphane Van Alst. Et ici, il retourne sa catégorie 2, ça bouge. Et Mister X se sent qu'il fait l'effort. Il fait l'effort pour revenir sur SS. Ensemble, ils ont quand même 15 secondes sur Olivier Simons et 24 secondes sur Pablo Popovic. Attention, on a vraiment le sentiment que la course se décante là dans la roue de Henry Huys qui donne tout, avec Thierry Bessed, mais aussi l'américain Ryan Giuliano, le belge Stan Van Wallegem. Attention, chez les jaunes, eh bien, on a toujours cette échappée royale de 4 coureurs, rappelons-le. Le GOAT, Jason Osborne, va-t-il tenir à 200 mètres? Et oui, il semble que ce soit une victoire brésilienne pour Giselle Betty. Magnifique victoire.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام، متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم مع الانطلاقات الأربعة والفئات الأربعة. الفئة باللون الأحمر، الفئة الرابعة والفئة الثالثة بالأزرق، والفئة الثانية باللون الأخضر، والأولى باللون الأصفر. المتسابقين في عملية الاستعداد والانطلاقة في بلجيكا، وعودة قوية لهذه الفئة. وبالمناسبة الفئة هنا تطور فيها الأداء بشكل واضح، والمستوى أصبح عالي جدا في هذه المنافسة.
نرى الزي الغريب لهذا اللاعب هنري يويس اليوم.
نعم، بالعضلات طبعا. هذا كما نشاهد هو عبارة عن ستريتش خاص ولكن يظهر طريقة العضلات لجسم الإنسان. برافو اس اس. نعم اس اس كان متخصص في القميص الأخضر، وها هو يعود وهو يعرف تماما بأن لديه فقط فرصتين. الفرصة الأولى في أول 2 كيلو، والفرصة الثانية تأتينا تقريبا بعد 10 كيلو. اس اس الآن هنا، والله برافو يا اس اس. اس اس متماسك وسط الكوكب الآن. اس اس في وسط الكوكب بقميصه الأخضر، يعرف تماما بأن هي الفرصة الآن البقاء وسط الكوكب. الله 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 الله، هذا معاه اس اس، معاه اس اس الآن في الصورة. محاولة جميلة من فريق يوي كلانتين. اس اس ومستر اكس 100.
الآن نرى الواط 480 عند اللاعب مستر اكس 100. بالرغم من العمل لعدد من الكيلومترات بمفرده، يعود ويستطيع البقاء 490 الواط الآن. وهنا التاج
يتم اللحاق به الآن. جوزيل البرازيلي ينطلق الآن بانطلاقة سريعة، يدخل الآن في آخر 200 متر. المحاولة قادمة من الخلف من دافيد الآن. دافيد نايتكو. هذا دافيد نايتكو الآن ينطلق بانطلاقة صاروخية، إنه يقترب كثيرا. الفوز هنا أيضا لجوزيل.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's our October monthly finals. My name's Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio with the one and only
Emma Martin.
That was as near to singing as you're allowed to go in any studio I sit in with you.
I am definitely not singing, even if I am really happy because the racing is superb and we're going to see some superb racing today. That's my prediction, because we're heading to the Jebel Hafeet for the October final here in the men's race. 45 kilometres of racing, 1,041 metres of climbing. Yep, you heard that correctly. And you can see the run to those 2 climbs highlighted in red on the screen. And it is not flat. Well, the aquarium climb comes at 16.4 kilometres into the race. It's got an average gradient of just shy of 3%. Then we run in towards the Jebel Hafeet, 10 kilometres of climbing. Average gradient 7%, and it kicks and has small respites along the way. And the timing is absolutely crucial for the finish.
It is indeed. It's going to be really key. Now, some of the climbs that are on this course, you can see them just before the second of our sprints and after the aquarium climb, are going to be critical for our riders in all 4 of our race categories. Category 1, 2, 3, and 4. Category 1 to 2, the gap of 5 minutes. 10 minutes before them go Category 3. 5 minutes before Category 3 go Category 4. They're going to be the first of our riders away. We have some very strong teams. Now, BMC Racing at the level Avengers, Level Up, Mighty Ducks and Spinergy are all going to be battling it out, all with enough riders to qualify for the team prizes. The Anzacs, Triple M and Upcycled also in that situation. A number of individual riders, Milano, Gomez, Girardo, Amur and Driscoll as well. Now, we'll run you through the riders in which team once we've got our riders up and away. But it's time to focus down on the race starts. Category 4 in final countdown before we go racing. It's time to go. It's time to head out of the pens. It's October. It's our monthly final in the Sunday Race Club here on MyWhoosh. Category 4, heading out of the pens and out on to the roads of Arabia. They're going to eventually climb right to the top of the Jebel Hafeet. It's a little way before we get there yet.
Oh, it is indeed. In fact, to be precise, 34.5 kilometres. So Mukhtari is the rider on the front of the group, and it's a fast pace. You know, Category 4 always fast out of the pen and getting up to pace really quickly, just shy of 45 kilometres an hour at the moment. But Mukhtari on the front, Filder, Rusinek, Horsley, all in the mix behind, sat in the group. And, well, for the men, the last time they were on the Jebel Hafeet, it was the August final, and West took the win in a sprint in Category 4 from Connell. 0.2 of a second separated them at the top of the Jebel Hafeet.
Next to nothing to separate our riders, and of course, because this is our final. It's a monthly final, and we do have a habit of coming to the a little bit of a habit of coming to the Yellow Feet when it is a monthly final, when there's a lot at stake. Well, we have our team competition as well. So a quick reminder, in case you weren't watching our amazing women's race that we've just seen, which also came up the Feet for the finals. There is the team competition. The team competition, 5 riders, the maximum riders you can enter into the team competition. 3 riders time to count. Those 3 riders times added together, your fastest 3 riders. The team with the lowest cumulative time for their 3 fastest riders are the team who are going to take the top spot, because that is key. It's another tight competition time-wise, but with so many strong teams in here, it's going to be really tricky. So let's take a quick run through your teams. BMC Racing, we've got Calderon, Pino, Navarro, and Gonzalez. The Level Avengers, Fielder, Rusinek, Rooney, Francis, and Cirillo. Level Up Racing, well, we've got Brito, we've got Nogueira, Cadabona, Gaviria, and Zimiel, full 5 for them as well as the Level Avengers. 5 riders for the Mighty Ducks. We've got Gadello, Kutab, Barchansky, we've got Truba and Newman. For the Spinergy team, well, they've got 3 counters, Jogger Bonus, Kenneth and Dadson. The Anzacs squad have 5. That's Horsley, Winfield, Cridland, Dadson, and McMurtry. Triple M have 3 riders. We've got Jedi Abello, we've got Kriwanos and Muktari. And then we've got 5 riders for the Upcycle squad. There's Naska, Dromard, Lloyd, Alusa, and Mayard. Now, 3 riders to count out of those team riders. Already the action is coming thick and fast. We're less than 3 minutes into the racing.
We are indeed, and last month in the September final, it was BMC Racing in Category 4 that took the win from Level Up Racing. Just 45 seconds separating those 2 teams. Well, David Milano, he's been in the group, and after 3 minutes, he's had enough, putting a push on the front of the pack. Gonzalez trying to do the chasing, so is Rusinek. No one's going to want to let anybody go down the road at this point. It is a rolling, and I say rolling, it's not at all flat the first 16 kilometres of this race before they get to the aquarium climb. There are indeed, if you see on the top right hand corner of your screen, that's the line and path of the route. The yellow vertical line indicates where the group is rolling at the moment, and you can see the dips and the small climbs. It's continually like that, and I think we may see riders pushing on to try and whittle the group down.
Indeed, one man who sat in comfortably resplendent in a New Zealand skin suit is Jeff Rooney. Now, we said this before the women's race. We're going to say this again. If you have not watched the World Championships, then, or not seen the result, please, please, please make sure you go tune in and download and watch that first, because we will give spoilers away. We will give spoilers away. So this is your warning. Now is the time to turn the volume down, then come back, or to maybe join us again a little bit later. We will give you spoilers. Jeff Rooney in the jersey of New Zealand, the champions in the women's race. Now, in our Category 3 racing, our teams of the Aotearoa Alliance are here. We have got the Drafts squad as well, both those teams with 4 riders. We've got Gold Grabbers with 5, GUW with 4, Level Racing. Level Racing Elite, they have got 5 riders. The Level Racing Revolution have got 5 riders. Probably going to have 5, and Take That have 4.
They're back again.
They are back again, and they will be back for good. We will see if that's going to be the case as we go out and racing. We're in with Bedoya, Category 3 up and away. Let's give you a quick run through the moment these riders settle down, because I think they've been taking hints from Category 4 here, Emma.
Oh, yeah.
Up and away.
Just put the nail down from the start. Eben Svart is the rider from South Africa, absolutely dialing this start at the moment. Johan Moreno is doing the following. Bedoya is behind. In fact, the pack settling down behind. Very happy to let Svart just head off out of the pack. And you can see Eben Svart on your screen at the moment on the bottom left-hand corner. Headphones in as well. And whether there's some music pumping in his ears and he just wanted to get a good start, or whether he deliberately went away from the group, he is the rider out front at the moment with the red and black cap. The pack are rolling. They are about to come onto the back of his wheel. great start from the Category 3 riders.
It is. Now, Eben Schwartz is one of the level racing revolution. Now, what unites these riders other than being in the level racing revolution? Ben Kirk, Nicholas Hagland, Eben Schwartz, Ola Warren, and Sammy Twoney. What unites them is the fact that they are known to ride strongly as a team, and they go on the attack early. Somebody will go down the road from that team very, very early, and it can be any one of those riders. Now, let's run you through the rest of the teams and their riders as these riders make their way out. Aotearoa Alliance, so we've got Edwards, Giuliano Squilari, and East in there. In the draw squad, Cadiz, Bedoya, Wakefield, and Giraldo. In the gold grabbers, it's Tidholm, Oya, Kochikov, Karlstrom, and Van Welligan. In the GUW squad, Pulgarin, Moreno, Kirchner, and Oviedo. The level racing elite have Fenderick, Lawrence, Roy, Pedersen, and White. And already had an interesting moves from him in this month. We'll see if he can go again. In the pro beginner squad, we've got Marin, Cardona, Elos Arrego, and in take that, well, Mayer, Cansara, Spratt, and Ridley. But they're also joined. Torsten Holtz is here. We've got Ross Solly. We also have got Jana Pick and Damian Kiesnowski. Kiesnowski just pushing on.
Yeah.
He's an aggressive rider. He's a rider whose aggression is often rewarded on courses with maybe less mountainous terrain. This is in my mind, less mountainous terrain than the Jebel Hafit, but is perfectly suited to the rolling hills around and beside the aquarium climb.
Yes, definitely. Well, Oviedo on our screen at the moment, you can see the work and the effort going in. That's because this is rolling terrain and it's a bit of a kicker here. It's going to flatten out now as they go around the roundabout and then descend on the other side. But Category 3, really interesting this month. 3 different winners through the 3 qualifiers. So Ridley, Allport and Besaidi all taking wins this month from Category 3. And 12 different riders making the top 5 over those 3 qualifiers.
So Oviedo just going through with Nicholas Spratt here, just making the way down that 2.3 kilometre marker. We actually have some official sprints en route at the sprint competition. 5 sprints at the Expo Sprint, Abu Dhabi Sprint, the RAK Sprint, the Liwa Desert Sprint, and the Silent Dunes Sprint. These riders, though, not waiting for those green arches that signify the start and finish. They're already up and sprinting their way through. Now, Category 4 and Category 3 are on the road. There was 5 minutes separating the 2 race starts. There's 10 minutes between Categories 3 and 2. Now, already in through the first of our sprint has gone Category 4, Emma. It looks like that is a pretty strong race, but already before we even get to the sprint, Category 3 are trying to blow this apart. We've seen a little bit of a breakaway, aren't we?
Now, I'm just going to carry that. Category 3, 39 riders on the start today, 8 different teams. Well, you've got to remember this team competition really changes the dynamics of the finals each month, and it is indeed the final here in October today. Now, 5 teams, 5 sets of prizes. There are 8 teams, however. So this is going to be a battle in the teams as well as a battle for the individual competition. And Category 3 just going through the sprint segment, the first sprint segment, the Expo Sprint. And well, you can see the power going on, and you can see that green skin suit now for Ben Kirk. Spratt and Oviedo have not slowed down. This is an attack now, and we quite often see this through the sprint sections. Riders going for the sprint and then not backing off and taking the pack by surprise.
So if you can break clear early on, you'll pick up points in that sprint competition. Point be sprint on the way in through. We also have got a real battle behind, I'm sure, for the climber points as well. They are being allocated out on the aquarium climb and on the final climb of the Jebel Hafit. A quick reminder, the Jebel Hafit climb section finishes 500 meters before the end of our race. So the Jebel Hafit climb kicking in at 34.5k, going to 44.5 kilometers. Riders at the moment in Category 4, the furthest down the road, leaders at 7.3k of our 45 kilometres. The leaders in Category 3, well, they're at 4.1
kilometres. Now, Emma, we
it's like two different worlds, isn't it? Category 4, one big pack. Adriana Zanaska, they're on the bike in the middle of the pack, nice and rolling, just shy, 35 kilometres an hour. They're coming into the climb at 7.5 kilometres. And, category 3, bang, 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 bang down the road.
So here we go, category 4. Let's see if on this little bit of a climb it starts to get thinned out. It starts to get stretched here. The chevrons on the right-hand side of your screen, those red chevrons indicate the zone the runners are going into. So zone 6 is the deepest. You can see that zone highlighted where our riders are. So Zanaska highlighted in the blue now. Scott Francis, that's the rider we're following at the moment. And the zone that they are in highlighted at the top. Francis at the moment alternating between zones 5 and 6, right on that borderline. So really digging in deep as they climb up towards this roundabout. This is a really nasty climb. Now, the riders do have to race on a fixed percentage in terms of difficulty on here. So there is a minimum percent. You can't just lower it down to 10%. It does change the feel of the climb and how it rides, but what's the what's, and you still got to get that power in. Now, Scott Francis out of the saddle here, looking pretty smooth there and keeping those revs rolling, but at 60 revs per minute, he's more rolling that gear around than he is tapping a rhythm. And the pace that's being set on the front, which is forcing these riders to go into the red, it's starting to shed riders.
We are indeed starting to shed riders in that category 4 race pack. And 39 riders took to the start today in category 4. And now that group is getting smaller. In category 3, it's a small group at the front because Oviedo and Spratt are away. They went for the first sprint at the Expo and they just kept on going. So Spratt and Oviedo, the two riders clear, and they're 9 seconds clear of the chase. And at the head of the chase, it's Fenderich.
So at the moment, this will be a little bit of a pursuit as they try to close down our leaders. We got the two riders away, Oviedo of GUW Racing and Spratt of Take That. Fenderich at the moment just sitting and rolling around on the front, not wanting to let this go too far out, riding for the Level Racing Elite squad.
Well, they are indeed. And, category 3, the dominance last month of the Otero Alliance, they took the win from the Pro Beginner squad by 1 minute 56 seconds. And when you put that into contention, we were talking about category 4, it was a 45-second gap between those two teams. And I can tell you, in category 2, it was 1 minute 19, and in category 1, 12 seconds.
Well, let's see if it's going to come down between our teams in category 2. The riders lined up on the start. Now on our start line, we've got the Level NSA Racing. They have 5 riders taking to start the MyWhoosh Werewolves with 5 riders also. We have the MBAD squad, 4 riders on the squad for them. We have got Rule 5 with us, and they have 4 riders, so not sticking to Rule 5. The Wattage Warlocks, they have also got 5 riders. We've got the Wattage Warriors here today. The Warriors with 5 riders. The What's Up team have 4, and we have an elite squad from the UAE Clan team. The band are back together. Mr. X100, SS, and Pablo Popovic. Will any of our top 3 riders here today be able to match the power of the 3 riders from the UAE Clan team? Will it be the UAE Clan team taking top spot on what is a favourite course for them? I think they are very strong here and have to be watched. You've got 3 very strong riders in Mr. X100, in SS, and in Pablo Popovic. If they work together, they are going to make life harder for everybody who's out racing. But it's a strong race field. Didutch, Almeida, and Angarita, 3 strong riders, not on a squad at the moment.
Well, do you know, 3 different winners throughout October in category 2. Krasnich, Theme, and Betty all taking wins this month. 10 riders getting top 5 positions. The strength and depth of category 2 really, really showing. Alcase, Well, Alcase always strong at the start of a race, and he's very aggressive early on.
Very, very good indeed. You may have heard the knock on the mic. It is, in fact,
Tadej Pogacar knocking on the commentary studio.
We'll prove it on social media at some point. It's great to see him here. I'd love to give him a headset, and we'll see if you. It's going to go out on at biking_Emma and at Matt Fixer Payne on social media. Tadej Pogacar keeping an eye. He's getting to see the other side, so we get to watch him race. I'm hoping our riders here. Will anybody go for a 70k breakaway? That is going to be an incredible. It would be so long. They'd be out the other side of the race and starting on the next race next Sunday.
Well, they would. They'd have done most of next week's course as well.
Well, I'm sure that wouldn't stop Tadej. We're going to leave him to get on that. Keep your eyes on the social media from at MyWhoosh and make sure you take a look. Congratulations also to Tadej Pogacar for extending his contract. I think it now runs to 2030.
Who wouldn't want to have Pogacar on your
Emirates.
team?
I don't know. I'd love to be on his team, but I think I'm going to count that, seeing as how he's here with MyWhoosh, because MyWhoosh are looking after that team. A massive thank you to the team riders from the UAE Emirates squad, to Yusuf Mirza and Sofia Al Sayegi, who came and joined us from the UAE ADQ squad as well. Fantastic to have you on the stage with us and giving us some insights into your world and what it means to have the World Championships here in Abu Dhabi. Now, as we make our way in along, we'll go back to the point of Mohammed Alcase. He is an aggressive rider. He's a rider who is very much going to work very, very strongly at the start of the race, but he's got to make it count at the end. Now, we saw in the GCC Championships a real big push from Alcase. He was battling in that race with Mr. X100 time and time again. We're going to see if that continues as we go down the road. Meanwhile, let's jump back in with Category 3. Now, Sprat has been pulled back into the fold, I think, here. Just taking a little bit of a check here. It is our leading group, though. And at the moment, that leading group, I think as much as being pulled back in the fold, we've seen riders come across and joining our race leaders. So Sprat, Moreno, Fendrick, Giuliano at the front. 7 seconds back to Kirk, 8 to Warren. It's going to be a very similar time back to Carsten Mayer. The riders at the moment, the group leading are clear. So we have Category 4 well underway. They're at 12k. Category 3 at 9.5. Category 2, 2.7k, and Category 1 are down on our start line, getting ready to go. A huge number of these riders know that today's going to be a tough day. It's a big start list. Let's run you through the teams first of all. So we've got the Alpha Jaw squad: Chirek, Talbot, Vijaysin, Kaminsky, and Jones. The Farm Watt squad: Andreas and Pucker, Planter, O'Noran, and Nair. We've got the Hard to Guard squad: Osborne, Knudsen, Safran Sedi, and Van Else. They're the first three of our squads. The squads having 5 for Alpha Jaw and Farm Watt squads, 4 for Hard to Guard. Team Colm are here: 5 riders: Bankston, Ritter, Coyston, Ellenjung, and Shuren. The Tractors squad have 4. That's Paradians, Kroll, Milostic, and Dont. And then the Wenger boys, they have 5 riders. That is Jacobs, Power, Panizza, De Wit, and Mayer. Now, you may recognize some of those names. That is because a large number of these riders have been racing in the World Championships only a few hours ago. They're here, they're going racing. It's time to hit the roads. It is our monthly finals race. It is the one that contains our team competition here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. The end of October, at the end of a long run of World Championships for us, before we go into next year for the UCI on UCI disciplines. Esports racing is 12 months of the year. It's 365 days of the year. And I tell you what, Emma, What are these riders doing?
Well, it's Zach Nair doing something that Zach Nair likes to do. We saw him in the first stage yesterday in the World Championship final, setting a phenomenal time alongside his teammates from the USA in that sprint competition. And well, he's just sprinted off the start line. Kroll is there, Van Elsvu, Yasin, Panizza are all in the mix. It's a phenomenal race field today. 35 riders on the start sheets in category 1. 6 teams. And I have to say, thank you ever so much, because Saeed Safrazadi got in touch last night before the World Championship final, one of our regular Sunday Race Club performers out on the road racing as well. Sent a little message to wish everybody good luck and said that he was really sad to be missing out on that World Championship final. So I sent him a little message saying back, qualifying for next year then? Question mark. Well, I think today might suit him really well, because he's going to have fresh legs. And, well, he's very rarely out of the top 5.
He is very rarely out of the top 5. One man who doesn't seem to be able to do anything but take away wins at the moment, Jason Osborne, absolutely flying. But one rider who I think is great to see in action, Mikel Plantereau here, is riding really strongly at the moment. And he well could be suited to this climb. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he rides that climb. Jason Osborne, can I just say, the very first Cycling Esports World Championship, it was way back in 2020, those heady, horrible days when we couldn't go anywhere and we were really stuck. And a lot of people turned to jumping on board their turbo trainers and riding. Jason Osborne that year was our world champion. Every year since he's been on the podium, he's repeated.
Spoiler!
I did tell people at the start, don't stay tuned if you don't want spoilers. He took the win, and I have to say, what a way for our world champions to be here. Mary-Kate McCarthy rode in the women's race, the women's champion. The men's champion is here as well. It was a great championships as well. I mean, Zach Nair, all credit to them. The USA squad, what a ride by them. They went and took the racing on from the gun, and they did it smart.
They did it in style. They absolutely did. But that rainbow jersey going for the second time to Jason Osborne, and such smart racing. We've been having a chat in commentary the days in the run up to the World Championships, and chatting actually about Osborne, thinking, do you know what? If he's going to win the title, he's got to ride clear. And I cannot believe he was able to ride clear of such a class race field. Take a look at them. They are there on your screen. Turek, phenomenal riding yesterday. So was Kaminsky, Jones and Nair. And who can forget 1, 2, 3 in stage 1 to the USA.
And Dave's now part and parcel of that. We're good. So we got Michael Kaminsky in here. He's clearly watching. Do you know, every time a rider waves on screen, I wave back in the studio
it's
with
hilarious.
0 cameras. And thank you very much. Great to meet Daniel, Mikel, Ollie, and Zach. We've seen them down in the hotel here in Abu Dhabi. They're in their hotel rooms at the moment, riding live at the moment from Abu Dhabi, just a few kilometers down the road from MyWhoosh HQ, which is where we are at the moment. We do play musical studios a little bit. Normally it's between the Full Speed Event studios in France and in the UK. However, we're in MyWhoosh HQ with the amazing team behind the scenes. I've got to say a massive thank you to the team led here by an amazing guy who keeps it all together and does keep calm and carries on no matter what happens. He may have the king of the gifts with him and an amazing team behind him. They are our top 3 when it comes to production here at MyWhoosh, but they are backed up by a big team, and our riders racing, well, they've got to be backed up. The Level Racing Revolution have strength in depth, and when we look at the Expo Sprint, I tell you something, Category 3, I don't know what they have for breakfast, but I probably needed it
Well,
today.
they went very, very fast out of that start pen and just didn't stop. So Ben Kirksing, the fastest time through the Expo Sprint in Category 3 from the Level Racing Revolution. His teammate Ola Warren going through on his wheel in 2. Brian White setting the 3rd fastest time. And then we see Category 2 with SS dropping into 4th place. Cadiz, Kansara, Yees, Oya, Van Velgem, all from Category 3. And then the fastest Category 4 rider, Cirillo, coming through in 10th place. I can confirm Ollie Jones, the fastest Category 1 rider through that section, 35th.
Well done, gents. Taking it nice and steady at the start in Category 1.
Well, I would, wouldn't you?
Well, they went like an absolute bunch of loons out of the start pen, and we were like, what's going on? And then they backed off a bit, and we all went, oh, yeah, maybe let's just take it. But we must remember that the vast majority of riders on the Sunday Race Club were not racing yesterday in those World Championship finals. And I really, really got to say a big thank you to all of the community who are bearing with us. Now, I'm going to put a public apology out there right now. I am absolutely on my knees right this moment in time. We have talked, I think, non-stop in rehearsals and on shows for, it feels like 3 days straight. It's probably realistically about 12 hours a day for 3 days. So if we make mistakes, do bear with us.
Well, I'll tell you something.
I don't mean to do it.
Well, someone who's not making a mistake at the moment, and that's Ivan Nuki. Absolute pleasure to meet this gentleman here in Abu Dhabi over the last few days. Right at the front of this pack with Pablo Popovic, Simmons, SS, Theme are all in the mix. And this Category 2 pack, you can see on the bottom left of the screen, riders dropping from this group. They're at 8.3 kilometres into the race. They're coming up from the Abu Dhabi Sprint. And as we said right at the start, Matt, this is not a flat start, and riders getting distanced off the back of the group by the pushes on these small climbs.
And Ivan Nuki, I mean, that man is a superstar. He came down to the World's Finals, didn't he? And he was stood on the stage with people. Everybody wanted a picture with Ivan Nuki. I don't blame him. I saw him, I said hello, and then we got dragged apart and didn't get to chat. Hopefully we'll do that in the next day or so whilst we are here. Now, back into Category 3. The leading group of riders, Fenderic Spratt, Moreno and Giuliano, are still clear. Not only are they still clear, they've extended that gap. They now have 23 seconds. Yeah, you heard that right. It's not me making mistakes. I'm tired. 23 seconds from the chasing bunch. It's now 26 seconds. It's extended 27. It's going out all the time. Now, this is going to make it more difficult for those riders behind to close this down, because these 4 riders are riding strongly. Are we going to see the 4 get all the way in and through? They're currently at 15.8k. They're heading in towards the aquarium climb at 16.4 kilometers. At that point, we are going to see, will they be able to stay clear? Will this just be a gap that gets swallowed up on the climb? Well, maybe we can get an indication of what's going to happen from our Category 4. There are the riders on the right-hand side of your screen. You can see that they are into the climb. They're at 18 kilometers at the moment. The aquarium climb finishing at 19.7k, 3.3 kilometers long, 2.9% average gradient. But remember, the very top of the climb and into the descent slightly is included in the segment time. So that average gradient, because it's included in the stats, a little bit deceptive.
Well, what's not deceptive is the push on here, and this is a push onto the back of the wheel of Van Heat and closing the gap down back onto the leading group in Category 2, because there are splits in this pack. And you can see that on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, riders dropped off the Category 2 pace, and the Category 2 pace has been high. They're coming in for the next climb on the road. It's a short, sharp kicker. One of the riders just down the road and hanging off the front of the group, but Brune, Gomber, Winfield, Patterson, Clays, all in the mix here. Carradine is there, and Krasnich and Downey. They are chasing one of the riders. Noel Batty is in the mix here. You can see him on the screen at the moment. Bright sunshine in front of him at the moment. And the rider from Great Britain, it's not very often at this time of the year you see bright sunshine coming through the window.
Yeah, maybe we sent a little bit over from the UAE, and maybe we'll see now Bathy back in for the live finals next year. You never know, because our runners really are progressing so strongly.
And this course should suit him. He's a fabulous climber, and the Jebel Hafid at the end of this course, the final 10 kilometres of this 45-kilometre race today. I bet Batty was very, very pleased when he saw where we were going for the October final, where Pablo Popovic, Olivier Simmons, the two riders at the front, can win. Field is there as well. John Brune, Side Carradine, all in the mix, and there is Simmons on our screens at the moment, just rolling to the front. You can see the green banner up ahead, signifying the start of the next sprint section. That's the RAK sprint coming up. There you go, underneath the banner for category 2, but it's looking like the pace is just rolling.
It's tapping along. Do you know, Olivier Simmons always impresses me because he's always up for the racing. He's a rider who he looks so engaged with the race all the time. He never looks like he's just, even when there's nothing happening, when you don't have an attack from Essex coming in through the sprint to take sprint points, he always is there. He's always watching what's going on. He's out the saddle. He's sitting down. He really looks attentive, and I do think it's one of those key skills as an esports rider, knowing where to keep your gaze and where to put your attention with all this information that comes in. A quick reminder, left-hand side of the screen at the bottom, that is the radar view. It's got a quick summary of the speed and the distance covered, the meters gained. Top left-hand side, you'll see the table popping up with the results from sprints and from climbs. The central top section, well, this is the rider's stats. So the distance covered of the 45k. That 45k is the race distance here. If you are out doing a different race of a different distance, then that would reflect that. The watts, that's the amount of power that's being produced. In the white, it is in the wind. When it's green, you're in the draft. So you can see Michael Plantera at the moment on the left of your screen. His avatar in the center highlighted.
Green
the watts
watts
are in green, and that means that he's hiding in the bunch and making sure he doesn't expend. It goes to white as he moves nearer to the front, drops back into green again, as you can see, just hovering around the front of the group where the wind will come in. His time of racing, 12 minutes 44 and counting. His heart rate is in there, as well as the pedal cadence, so how fast they're pedaling. Lyndon Milostic, the rider that we're in with now, you can see highlighted, just dropping in with Safar Zadie. He has got the blue bar on the right hand side on him, and then you can see above, you can see those zones. So you can see the zone that the riders are working in. We're in with Ruben Dont at the moment, and you can just see his heart, his power going up as he goes a little bit further in here, just keeping that pace high. Now, this is a rider that may well put in an attack here, just watching the power to weight ratio.
Well,
could be that he's going to go running into the little bump on the top right hand side and kick in.
And I have to say, Ruben Dont and Lyndon Milostic have come up from Category 2 into Category 1, and they are not afraid of mixing it. But through the Abu Dhabi sprint is Ben Kirk yet again in Category fastest time, 24 seconds. Ruben Dont in Category 1 in 2. Phil Graves in Category 2 in 3. Warren Simmons, Tuka Milostic, Nair, Knudsen and Van He rolling through there, and just taking a little bit of a scroll back down the result sheet to see the fastest Category 4 rider, and that's Alexander Fielder from the Level Avengers.
So, interesting times out on the Sunday Race Club. It is the monthly final race here. Remember, we kick off the cycle of racing all over again. Pardon the pun. I know it's terrible, but what do you expect? It's a complete cycle, because we go from our Category 4 to Category 1. We do this in all of our qualifiers. Our qualifiers on every single Sunday, except for the last Sunday in the month, because that is our monthly final. That is when the team competition comes into play as well. 4 categories in the men, 4 categories in the women, all fighting for prizes, all fighting for bragging rights in the sprints competition and in the mountain competition as well. All these riders verified
every single rider checked and verified with the MyWhoosh Power Passport and the verification system, the same one that is used in the World Championships, the very self-save system, making sure that all of our riders are competing on a level playing field. And that really, really key, as we did mention in commentary to yesterday at the World Championships, to really pushing esports forward. Now, we're in with the riders here at the Aquarium Climb, going up over the top of the climb here. Category 3 go in and through. It is going to be Nicholas Spratt who takes top spot. Then it's Fenderich behind. Spratt now resplendent in that polka dot skin suit. But this is the fastest time through the segment, and only 4 riders from Category 3 will have gone through. We're waiting for the rest to come through. Now, if the riders behind put in a faster time, it means that they are catching. If they put in a slower time, it means that they are losing ground. Emma, you are on the results there.
I am.
You have all the secret information. Come on, tell us.
I can tell you that the leading 4 have just been bumped because 20 riders in the chase group have ridden through the Aquarium Climb faster.
So 20 riders going through quicker up the climb section than the 4 leaders. That means they've closed the time gap down. Henry is one of those resplendent in the jersey there. The MyWhoosh red jersey, black shorts. Good to see Henry. Henry on the other side of the globe from us here. He's down... he's currently in Australia and New Zealand running. You see, it's absolutely pitch black, middle of the night there. It's so dark out there. Thank you very much, Henry, for illustrating that point. Now, somebody give that man a set of cues because he's absolutely ideal. Tell you something, it's great to have Henry East on here. He's doing a fantastic job. That's not Stan Mulligan, I don't think.
No.
Last time I looked, it wasn't, but you never know the way my brain's working today. It could watch us. Now, we are in with Stan Mulligan here. He is the rider who's got that polka dot skin suit. He is the rider who did that fastest time up there, but those are the points on the Aquarium Climb. To take away that jersey and skin suit at the end of the race, you have to be the Jebel Hafit and Aquarium Climb points put together leader.
You do.
That kind of makes sense.
It is the total climbing in each.
The total points
category.
accumulated.
That's true.
In the 2 climbs that count. And remember, of course, when we go to Belgium, 5 climbs can
Well,
count.
I'll tell you something. Joselle Betty at the moment, just off of the wheel of Olivier Simmons. We can see him in the kit at the moment on the screen. Great to see him. He has indeed taken a win this month. In fact, that was last week in Belgium. Very, very different course to the Jebel Hafit, but he's closing down on the wheel of Simmons. These 2 riders at the head of this Category 2 race, now coming up for 16 kilometres of this race complete. They're coming up towards the Aquarium Climb. It's a big, big pack of Category 2 riders today. 39 riders, 8 teams, and they are all pretty much still together.
Pretty much.
Well, they've lost 1 or 2 riders, but not many.
That's I quite like. I think I quite like pretty much as a way of illustrating that. I think that's pretty representative. Okay, so Category 1, left-hand side of your screen. Category 2, right-hand side of your screen. The last 2 categories to go away from our start pens, making their way out and around the course. They're chasing Category 3 and Category 4. Still big bunches in both at the moment. No real gaps opening up. And are we just seeing a little bit of a squeeze on the front in Category 1? Quite possibly. What's going to be really interesting is to see how that plays out as a move forwards, because yes, we can use the Jebel Hafit to separate riders, but surely they're not going to wait till then. There are other points other than our categorized climbs, though, to do so. And you can see that the riders in Category 3 and 4 are on the way in to and onto, in the case of Category 4, the climb out from the low point of the course. This comes as you come climbing up through 24.8k. It's a 2-step climb, actually, after the Aquarium Climb. You go up a steep section to kick off with. It levels that you climb again. And it is tough stuff out there. It's really going to test the riders in Category 4, 3, 2, and 1, because the pace that you take it at is going to dictate how tough. So that's the Category 4 riders on the level, about to hit the upper climb. They're basically about to go through the Liwa Desert sprint on there. Meanwhile, Category 2, well, we're on our way in. SS in the green skin suit of our sprint leader at the moment. Now, that is after 3 sprints because they are on the way into the aquarium climb. They're about to go through the entranceway from the sunlight, where they'll then move in to the aquarium, and that is when we see above them, basically it's all water. It's H2O above.
H2O.
That's as good as my chemistry gets today.
Well, our case is pushing on and riding very strongly today. Nuki is there, so is Betty. These riders right at the front of the group, and there's starting to be a bit of a stretch on the group at the moment as they go into the climb. The gradient is not particularly steep on the aquarium climb. Just an average gradient of shy of 3%. It's not like what we're going to see later on today on the Jebel Hafit. But SS, Themes, Clays, Nitko all in the mix. So is Simmons and Nuki right to the fore where they need to be, keeping an eye on the action.
So here we go, the riders on the way up at the climb. Let's keep an eye on them. We're in with SS at the moment. So Category 2 SS leading the way up the climb, right-hand side of the climb, watching Category 1 just coming in there. I was just peering intently at the screen whilst I went quiet. The multitasking, it's not quite so switched on today as normal. Don't get me wrong, we still got like 5 screens, so clearly watching screens is still working better than the counting skills. That's very hard, but yep, definitely not quite as fast as it is. But let's see how we go. The riders, Category 1 left-hand side of the screen, Category 2 right-hand side of the screen, really working their way well out around the course. Category 1, well, certainly looking very good. The bunch, though, they are all together, and I'm wondering whether we're going to see a little bit of a move here. We're about to take the turn in towards the aquarium climb. Remember, that aquarium climb officially kicking off at 16.4K, and we are currently at 15.9, so it's only a few hundred meters. We come around, we take the left-hand turn, we go in to the sweeping bend, takes us round here where we just saw Category 2 going into the aquarium. We're about to see Category 1 cover those self-same rows here on MyWhoosh on the Sunday Race Club on our October monthly final race.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot now, Matt, because I'm going to ask you
really
for a
today.
prediction. Yeah, today.
Oh, wow.
You know, we are in and on the aquarium climb. That is the polka dot banner signifying the start of the aquarium climb. It's the first of the 2 climbs today on this course on the men's October final. Category 1 are coming in. We've seen the challenge from the previous categories on this climb. Are they all going to go over the top together?
Top of which?
The aquarium climb.
No.
Oh.
Well, sorry, do you want me to elaborate on that?
Yes, that would be useful.
So the answer is no, because I think we've got 2 real distinct different groups of riders in the bunch at the moment. We've got those people who want it and can deliver it, and we've got those people who want it, but unfortunately, when the pace is on, are unable to deliver because they are going to come in, and whether that is because they just don't have the same speed and pace even at the best, or whether it's because they're fatigued from the racing that they have been doing in the preceding run up to this. Remember, we don't stop on the Sunday Race Club. We don't stop in terms of esports. There's almost no on and off season.
It's true.
And I think for me, we've got riders who have been racing hard, particularly in Category 1, in terms of the way it's peaked coming into the world. So many riders want to be there. They've gone through some really tough racing, but they're doing it on the back of a whole season quite often. And I think naturally there's a natural sort of tail off when we come out of the other side of the world. So to come in now feeling fatigued, you might want it, but you're not necessarily in that category of wanting it and able to deliver.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about those who were able to deliver last night, and a lot of them are in the mix because last night was indeed the Cycling Esports World Championships for 2024, and the gold medal and the rainbow jersey, as we said earlier in the show, went to Jason Osborne. Lionel Vujasin, I tell you something, that man ran it so close to the wire. He was 1 point ahead of Osborne going into that final points section last night. And he came out with the silver medal and second place to Osborne's gold. Casper Bormann's phenomenal finish from the rider to take third place. And I think he surprised himself, but absolutely well-deserved bronze medal there. Bjorn Andreasen took fourth. Hayden Pucker took fifth. Vidal Mayer took sixth. Kaminsky took seventh. Harris took eighth. Jones took ninth. And Turek finished and rounded out the top 10.
Amazing riding by all of our competitors. You can see at the moment Ollie Jones, Stefan Van Elsen, Mikhail Kaminsky and Daniel Churek on your screens. I absolutely loved it when we were in the stadium and Daniel Churek went for a sprint. He was in a midway sprint, diving down. You saw him working and you heard the crowd in the stadium really lift it. They really, really wound it up and really, really brought it on. It was so good. To see that interaction. It's something we don't often see on cycling esports, that interaction between the riders and the crowd, and great to have that in the very first in-person final, the final coming from Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, our host in here in the MyWhoosh powered event. And of course, MyWhoosh bringing us racing each and every Sunday, as well as through the week. Now, whilst we've got a quick few seconds before we get up to the top of the climb, might be a little bit more than a few seconds. You can join us. Please, please, please do jump on board. If you haven't tried, if you tried in the past, do come and join us. Now, the progression of MyWhoosh, the changes that we've seen, the evolution of the platform and the riding is absolutely amazing. We'd love you to jump on board. You can download MyWhoosh on iOS, on Android, on Windows. You can do exactly the same thing on a multitude of devices in lots of different formats on Apple TV. So please do that. Please make sure you jump on board. We've got lots of great racing. There's lots of racing coming up. I'm not allowed to tell you about. Otherwise, I'll be breaking the embargoes.
I can tell you
those.
about some because you can do the elimination racing. I've been wanting to try this, but I've not jumped on recently enough to do this. But I am going to join in the elimination.
You've been jumped on doing other things on
MyWhoosh.
MyWhoosh.
The elimination race you can join, which is absolutely brilliant. Individual time trials you can do team time trials through OTR. You can join the Sunday Race Club. You can jump on board the live coaching workout sessions. Those are running during the week.
Live coaching.
Yes.
Great way to get engaged and to ride. Now, you don't have to be of the level of Tadej Pogacar and Peter Sagan, who are amazing guests. A massive thank you to them for joining us in those finals and hopefully inspiring our riders. You don't need to be at the very top level of the sport. You can be at any level and jump on those
and I'll tell you
coaching
something.
sessions.
The absolutely brilliant thing about them is Matt is quite right. You can be at any level, and those live coaching sessions are banded. And what that means is the group stays together, whether someone's kicking out 6 watts per kilo or 1.2 watts per kilo. And I'll tell you something, Christoph Kroll is not kicking out 1.2 watts per kilo at the moment, and neither is Mikhail Kaminsky as they go underneath the banner of the aquarium climb. And, Kaminsky setting the fastest time, I think, up there.
So far, this certainly looks that way. Going over the top there, big kick on the front, put the pressure on. 2 riders minimum distance. I think we've got sort of 3-4 behind, getting dropped off the back. But riders won't lose ground willingly at the back of that group. Meanwhile, at the front of the group, it was Kaminsky confirmed on our screens.
Well, I'll tell you something. Nobody's losing ground at the moment on the aquarium climbing Category 1 because 27 Category 1 riders went over the top of that climb together.
That is a huge group. I mean, the top of the aquarium climb It comes at 19.7k. We're 20 kilometres of racing in. We've got 45k to go. We're not far off half race distance, and we still have a massive pack in Category 1 together. In Category 4, at the other end of the scale, the man who's furthest down the road at 31.5 kilometres, currently leading the mountain points competition.
Look at that.
It is the one and only JD Abello. Good to have JD in with us at the moment. And not only with us, he's wearing the skin suit. He's in the race lead. He's gone for a breakaway, and he's got 12 seconds.
Well, he has indeed, and at 31.7 kilometres. He's, just under, so I was just looking at the group coming round the corner behind, just under 3k to the base of the Jebel Hafit, and you can see the group in the distance, 10 seconds back. He's punching up the short rise, coming down the other side, and then it's pretty much a flat run into the base of the climb. Well, can this group bring him back? Are they going to be committed? I think Nogueira on the front is committed to the charge, but he's not getting a lot of help at the moment.
He's not Mohamed Mkhtari. He's one of our real fast riders. He's a rider who's very, very strong. I expect to see him have a go on the climb. Nogueira in there, Cridland in there, Dadson, Rooney, Rusinek. Jeff Rooney's been having a fantastic month this month in Category 4. I think he's been really strong. Rusinek, another rider. We saw him on the attack last week.
Well.
And I have to say, Jacques Rusinek, he's a rider that often figures in the pop-up window that gives us the view on the rider. He's a rider that often figures in the race action as well. Jacques Rusinek is not to be discounted from the race today.
And for me, Rusinek is a final of the month performer. You know, he always performs at the right time of each month. He took 5th place last month in the September final in Zurich. He's on the screens at the moment. You can see look of concentration on the face. 32.5 kilometers of racing under his wheels, coming up for 52 minutes. They are on the run to the Hafit, and he wants to get as much recovery as possible, but he doesn't want to lose the group. It's a really fine balance at the moment of positioning, taking the draft, getting as much recovery and saving as much energy for that final 10 kilometers.
Well, let's see what happens when we reach that point. It's not going to be long. The last 10k here are pretty brutal. I mean, the Jebel Hafit is a legendary climb. It's used for the men's and women's tour of the United Arab Emirates. It's a massive climb. Will it be Jonathan Cridland's day here today?
He's had 2 wins this month so far, you know.
Well, you know, but we've not done quite such a route as this. We have had a lot of more you would call them sort of Moyen Mountain or a transition. If it was a transition stage on the tour, it would be a run through from the transition from the big climbs to another set of big climbs, or maybe from the flat stage to a big climb. It's not a stage. Those have been the rides where I think has really excelled. He's a rider for all terrains. Whether or not when we go to this climb, when you get to the pure climbers on the big ascents, whether or not he's able to match that pace, I'm not so sure. We're going to have to see. I hope for him he does. But equally, you know, we've got such a massive cast of riders at the moment.
Yeah,
I mean, realistically, at the moment, JD Abello with that 12-second lead, he's out the front in Category 4. The rest of the groups, they're not really together.
Well, they're not, but Abello, do you know, he's extended that gap since we were in with him last, or at least he's holding that gap, and this is a flat section. He's got a big group chasing behind, but nobody seems interested in pulling Abello back.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
I don't think it is. I think it's quite truthful. His gap was 10 seconds. It's now 12 seconds. No one's interested in pulling him back.
Maybe they're interested, but the legs hurt too much. I mean, I've often been in that phase in the race. You know, I was really interested with being at the front of the race, and my legs were just, I was going like, the mind's willing, the legs went no.
Well, I don't know about that, but Heaney is willing at the moment, and he's willing his way to the top because he's pushing on. The Category 2 race fielder at 26.6 kilometres, having started 15 minutes behind the Category 4 group. And Heaney is motoring. He's got around 9 seconds on the chasing group of Category 2 riders. He's on the other side of the rise at the moment, dropping down into the dip by the dunes. Hagland is the rider he's got for company, and a Category 3 rider that the Category 2 riders have caught.
Do you know, I absolutely love the races on Sunday Race Club,
I know,
in
it's so
part
good.
because you can't really predict what's going to happen and where people are going to go. Hagland and Heaney on the move at the moment. I mean, Winfield is a class act. He's at 9 seconds trying to bridge across. Fatten he's behind. Just in front is John Wakefield. John, one of the people who actually messaged on the way through the championship. So thank you everybody for the messages. We have been kind of a little busy to be able to keep up with all the messages. Thank you, everyone, for messaging. We will try and get back to you as soon as we can. It might be after a little bit of sleep. Now, the riders who cannot sleep are Category 4 because they are now on to the final climb. They're on that run in at the moment. Remember that this climb segment finishes 500 meters before the finish at 44.5k. At 45 kilometers is our finish line. JD Abello, the leader at the moment, has 17, nearly 18 seconds on this group. They're on the steep section on the way up, and at the moment, they're not just not pulling him back, they're losing ground.
Oh, sorry, I was having a micro rest.
You are having a micro rest. So a micro rest is really important in esports racing, in cycling. And it's something that's very hard to do outdoors because basically you're likely to stack the bike, but it's something that you can do indoors much more. Explain a micro rest.
Well, just a very, very small period of time where you can drop your heart rate and recover slightly before you go again. And anywhere you can drop your heart rate, bring that down, recover slightly. Whether that's on a downhill section, a flat section, an opportunity to take a bit of draft off the pack while it's rolling, all really useful. And as Matt in the studio has a little yawn over the other side,
I was just having a
I
micro
think he
rest.
needs a micro rest too. But very useful in commentary, very useful in cycle sports, and a word for remembering: micro rest when you can.
And actually, that is one technique, because a yawn actually is about getting more oxygen into your bloodstream. And that's the other thing. By resting and letting your body do a little bit of recovery, you're going to let the body flush out some of the bad stuff that builds up when you're sprinting like lactic acid. You're also giving your body that chance to just get that extra bit of oxygen in there. And some people have some techniques. I know a number of people will take a set number of breaths when they're doing a micro rest.
Oh, breath work.
Don't
start talking to me about breath work.
No. There's also, I'm not, believe me.
I could talk a long time about breath work.
I know, the race would have finished by then. We also, I know riders who pedal backwards a little bit, who do that. I know other riders who stretch on those micro rests, but it doesn't have to be a full stop, does it? It can just be an easing off.
It can just be an easing. It doesn't actually have to be a stop at all.
So
just
some people,
easing.
so some people maybe put it in a bigger gear and just turn a slow pedal. That's something you can't do when you hit the steep slopes like Category 3. Now, Saeed Safrazedi, and actually it's just down in the Category 1 race field. They're just currently at 26.5k. They're going to be heading down in this little dip for a while. Currently 38 minutes of racing on the time clock at the moment. Category 1, the last set of leaders on the road, but this is still, I want to use the word humongous, but it's a big group. There's no other way to put it. So currently, Saeed Safrazedi giving us a wave. Good to see you, buddy. I'm sure we'll be catching up with you soon. He rode really well in the qualifiers and semi-finals, and he's a rider I expect to see in action on a regular basis. Let's face it, on road, on the mountain bike, on esports cycling as well. So let's see how he goes. The bunch at the moment rolling along. You can see that we've got our polka dot skin suit and our green skin suit in there. Then before, once the categories start catching, those green skin suits are different to the green jerseys of Category 2. So the green skin suit denoting our sprint leader, Ruben Dont, a rider who has progressed absolutely brilliantly right the way into Category 1. And now for me, is riding like it's his first home Category 1.
Well, yeah, and you know what? I think he's progressed into Category 1 and has really come to the fore and really shown that he deserves to be there, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, Panizza, Turek, Van Elst, Knudsen, Noren, Kroll, all in the group. And take a look, it's wide across the road at the moment. 2.4, 2.6, 1.7, 3.8 watts per kilo. The pack is just rolling, and well, they're rolling into the bottom of the Jebel Hafit, and I don't think we're going to see anybody push on those pedals big style until we get there. Well, they come underneath the green banner, signifying the end of the Silent Dunes sprint. It is indeed the final sprint. Well, actually, it was the start. That's the end banner right ahead of us, and they're coming through, and we're going to see this pack just roll through. I don't think they're going to make any play on the leader's time, and it's currently SS from the UAE clan team who has the fastest time through that sprint section. And well, I can tell you, no, the Category 1 pack rolling through. The fastest time, Ruben Don in 51st place.
Right, I'm going to refuel. Maybe it's going to be more coffee, because I'll tell you something, Category 1 are not matching the pace and power of Category 2. Category 2 here, SS from the UAE clan team, clearly has made it his mission today to go out and grab as many sprints as he can on the way. So it's a great way to train. It's a great way to utilize racing as training as well, because you're really working on that fast twitch, that big kick, that big power. Really good to see SS and Category 2 really out and racing. Now, right at the very front of the race, Category 4, now on the way up the climb. We're in with JD Abello at the moment. He is our polka dot skin suit wearer. He scored the most points on the aquarium climb. They're now well and truly into this climb, 36.5k covered. Remember, they've got to climb all the way to 45k. Well, to 44.5k, because the last 500 meters are really, really technical. So
I think that's 9 riders in that leading group, you know.
I did see you counting. I'm glad you're on counting skills today. Meanwhile, Category 3 are chasing. They're on to the slopes as well. They are currently at 36.1k. It's only 600 meters separating them. Now, it is uphill, so that might take a little bit of time, but that is not 9 riders.
But I tell you something, no. The 4 riders who
Yeah.
were clear, and those 4 riders have been clear a long time. Giuliano, Spratt, Fendrich and Moreno. The 4 riders in Category 3, they've been clear for around 10 kilometres now. The pack has not caught them and not brought them back. They're on the climb. They're on the Jebel Hafit. And Ryan Giuliano and Nicholas Spratt seem to be pulling away.
Well, yeah, I'm quite astounded. I'm quite astounded by their ability to stay clear to the climb. Never mind pulling away. It's really, really impressive riding by riders in categories, in all of our categories. Category 4 are on the way up at the climb at the moment. Category 3 have chased them onto there and are chasing hard. Category 2, they're at 32.4k and looking strong. In Category 1, well, they're on the way in. They are just, I think, waiting to light the fuse and to explode into action. They're all wanting to be in our fantastic prize of fun. They all want to take home their piece of what is an amazing prize fund. Category 4 are our standard category, and yet even in Category 4, the standard category, it is 2,160 AED for the win and 10,800 AED for the team competition win. Top 5 riders in the individual classification. Top 5 teams, 3 teams to score the time, take away prizes. Now, Category 4 to Category 3, the positions and the speed and the prize fund change. So, Category 3, first place, 3,600 AED. The first place in the team competition, 18,000 AED. What an amazing prize fund in Category 3. In Category 2, it goes up again, 6,000 AED for the win. Individually, for the team win, 30,000 AED, an absolutely stupendous sum. But we move up once again when we go from Category 2 to Category 1, the biggest of the prize funds reserved, of course, for those riders in the elite category. 10,000 AED for the win individually, 8,000 for second, 6,000 for third, 4,000 for fourth, fifth place 2,000 AED. In the team competition, fifth place is 5,000 AED, fourth place 10,000 AED, third place 20,000 AED, second place 30,000 AED, and top spot it's 50,000 AED.
Well, there you go. Are you okay?
If you don't work in AED, guess what? We have for you the one, the only
Emma's Exchange. Well, we did it in the women's. We're going to do it in the men's. In honour of the rainbow jersey, we're going with Euros for Jason Osborne from Germany. Now, I'm going to do two different things though. Jason Osborne, category 1. If he takes the win today, 10,000 AED is €2,521. If his team take the win today, 50,000 AED, €12,609. If he was in category 4, because I think we often focus on category 1, category 4, the individual win in category 4, €544. The team win in category 4, €2,698. Well, there it is. That's Emma's Exchange in euros to support the gold medal won by Jason Osborne at the World Championships here on MyWhoosh.
Amazing ride by him. Amazing ride by all of our leaders, all our winners. A massive thank you to our world champions for joining us, coming down and being here in the United Arab Emirates and racing the world champs, and then coming down and racing on the Sunday Race Club. What a way to honour the rainbow jersey, to come down to race, to be in action here on Sunday Race Club, to be joining our riders across all 4 race categories. I really look forward to watching our world champions and our medalists and all of our competitors in the World Championships all this year and into next. I'm really looking forward already to the next World Championships.
My goodness. Literally, we're not 24 hours after 2024's World Championships.
I've definitely not had 24 hours of sleep on the way through on them. It's very, very quick after. I'm already looking forward to that. You got to love the race action. Our riders, I hope, are loving the racing, or they will afterwards, because once you get onto this final climb, it's tough stuff. Category 2 racing starting to break the race field apart. You can see the chevrons coming in red and in orange, showing the riders are digging deep. This is the first steep section of the Jebel Hafid climb for Category 2. We're in with Sad Carradine, one of our fantastic regular races. He's just chasing Frederic Gombert of France, just in front, then David Dunn as well. Not all that far in front. And Sad Carradine, well, to the outside now. Sad, one of our regular riders on camera, and one of those riders who often will give us away today. His hands are full with those handlebars. He's out of the saddle. He's kicking down on those pedals, and he has to make sure that he keeps on pushing, because if he doesn't, he will lose touch with the lead group. You cannot afford to let a gap go. If you let a gap go now, you are going to be in big, big trouble, and that means out of the back of the group, Matthias Van Heet, one of our fantastic riders. He has performed so well, particularly on his home course in Belgium, but he's a rider for many terrains. Will today be his day? Well, he's certainly looking good at the moment. We're on the early stage. He's gone over that steep kick. He's answered, and indeed almost been one of those riders that has handed it out on the way through. He's comfortably in this leading group. He's got to keep going, though, because
he's had a 4th and a 2nd this month, you know.
Yeah,
so
he's been right up there.
He has, but this is a very, very big climb, and there's some very steep sections on it, up to 12%, and we're on one of those sections at the moment. The gradient does lay off slightly on places on this course, and it does back off completely on some of the step sections, enabling our riders to just take a rest. But it is so steep, this climb. The average gradient over 10 kilometers, 7%. Well, Simmons, Van Heet, Walter, Brune, Starzinski, all in the mix in this Category 2 race. And you can see the damage being done at the front of the group. The tail of green down the mountain is long.
It is indeed. This is often what we see, isn't it? The early stages will break riders off the back as they can't stay on. That attrition wears them off. Then the big pack at the front stay together. But then when we get to the later stages of the climb, that is where we start to see the riders at the front break clear and try and break away, because everybody's on the limit at that point. They've been doing it for a long time, and then it becomes the few rather than the many up there.
Well, that is the latter stages of the climb. On the early stages of the climb, the Category 1 riders have just gone under the polka dot banner, signifying the start of the Jebel Hafit and the final 10 kilometres of this race today. So Category 1 moving through now onto the Jebel Hafit, and Ollie Jones, Daniel Turek, Christoph Kroll at the front of the group. Knudsen coming to the fore, and Plantarovu Yassin is in there as well. One or two riders just about to start getting distance off the back. They're going to need to squeeze on, but this is so steep. This early stage of the Hafit, they've got to be able to stay with the group till it plateaus in a while, but it's not going to do that yet. They have got to get there.
Into this right-hand, left-hand, right-hand section. They're not going to feel the easing of the gradient yet. You can see it just dropping off ahead. 4 race categories en route to our summit. You can see Category 1 going over that first steep section. They are a big bunch. Category 2 are a group coming through together. Category 3, well, those 4 riders that were initially at the front, they're starting to break up with 2 riders clear. And in Category 4, the riders at the moment at the front of the race field, they are currently still a large number of riders heading up towards the top of the Jebel Hafit. Let's take a look at our course profile and let's see just what faces our riders in those last few kilometers. Well, last 10k, let's say, on the way into the finish. So the course that we've traveled so far, we've gone through from the left-hand side of the screen all the way through all 5 of our sprints. We've gone over the aquarium climb, and we are now onto the red section on the right-hand side of the screen. This is the climb of the Jebel Hafit, the big climb here in the UAE, the legendary climb from those tours. It is a climb with steep steps, with a few levelings off, the few resting places, and then into the finishing run. It is a technical finish. There's more flat as you come into that last quarter of the climb than there has been pretty much in the entire first 3 quarters.
There is, but you have to get your timing right, particularly on the run into the finish, and you can lose your position in the race very, very quickly here. And I did mention earlier on, we have seen sprint finishes on this course, and a sprint finish after a 10-kilometre climb, but in the August final in Category 2, 4 riders came into the finish, 2 seconds separating the top 4. 0.2 of a second separating the top 2 that month in Category 4.
And that came from riders doing very different tactics. If you have a look back across the finishes on the Jebel Hafit, on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel, on Twitch, it's MyWhoosh live on Twitch TV, you can take a look back and see how that is done. Some riders come in with a lead and lose that lead. Some riders come in behind and accelerate up through the race field to get into the lead. Knowing when to push on those pedals and how to push on those pedals sounds like it should be simple. It's not, because it's so subtle, particularly when you've got a finish where you have such a change in gradient. Now, I mean, you and I have both been riding on MyWhoosh for a long time now. It is a platform where you really do have to know, like any discipline, and any problem, you've got to know how to ride. And one of the things I absolutely love is the fact that you get it right, and it's just like when you're out riding. I've ridden some of the same roads that we have here. You get it right, you got it nailed.
Well, I'll tell you someone who's getting it right at the moment, and that's Jason Osborne, but he's got a shadow. It's Said Safrazadi at the moment on his wheel. Osborne's gone for a long one, doing what Osborne does. He did this last night, he's doing it today, but today he's got company, and Safrazadi was not in that final yesterday. I think Safrazadi is the danger man today for Osborne here in Category 1. But take a look at that. The pack are just coming round the bend behind.
That is a big gap that's opening in a very short space of time, with the pressure and pace being put on by Osborne and Saeed Safrazadi. Now, Jason Osborne on a massive high, as you would expect, taking the world title back after doing it first time round. Saeed Safrazadi out to prove that he can mix it with the world champion at the moment. They are on the front, they're on the attack, and the gap is going out. It's now at 22 seconds. These guys have got afterburners in the engines. They have absolutely rocketed clear, and at the moment, the response behind is not bringing them back. It's going out. The pack has lost riders. There are at least 3 riders gone out of the back, as Osborne and Safrazadi have gone out of the front.
Well, let's put it this way. Osborne took the win in the August final. It was Jones, Knudsen, Dvet and Safrazadi that day. I think this is going to be a little bit different, but look at the size of the chase group. Paradeans, Jones, Milistic, Panizza, Plantero, Van Elst, Kroll, Jacobs, all in the mix.
And Lyndon Milostic, of course, a rider with a strong pedigree, improving all the time, one of our young riders, a rider who it would be no surprise to see standing on a stage in a finals in very short order indeed. But all these riders absolutely world class. Milostic on our screens on the left in category 1. Lyndon Milostic. We've got John Brune on the right-hand side in Category 2. Now, Category 2, this has been a really interesting race. It was a big pack. And now where we're here in with the riders, we can just see, in fact, just in front, I think Peter Milostic is not all that far up the road as well in Category 2.
Well, he's not. And father and son both racing. Father in Category 2, son in Category 1. It's a family affair on the Sunday Race Club.
It certainly is. And if I remember correctly, I think in the latest MyWhoosh newsletter that came out, I think there was some details about our riders, about Peter and Lyndon Milostic. Do make sure you sign up. So jump on, get signed up to the newsletters that come out. Some really interesting. It's not just about the World Championship riders. There's a lot about Sunday Race Club, a lot about the training sessions, and a feature on lots of riders. And Peter Milostic, former Continental Pro rider, if I remember correctly, and his son doing a great job. One man who's always going to give it everything, Jeff Rooney here. In the far side of the world. He's currently right up there at the moment. He's in this chasing group now. JD Abello, when we saw them go into the climb, had opened up a gap. That gap has been brought down as these riders continue to ascend the Jebel Hafit. They are now within 4.5 kilometers of the race finish. That's still a substantial distance, but they are well into the climb. A little bit further down the slopes, Category 2 and 1 are chasing, but Category 4 at the moment, this race is coming back together again. That's Abello in the polka dot skin suit in front. They're on the way. And Carsten Mayer of Category 3 is weaving his way in up and past them, because Mayer of Germany leading this out.
Well, Carsten Mayer is indeed leading out the Category 3 race. He's about to catch JD Abello leading the Category 4 race. This is the head of the race at 40.6 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race. Abello Category 4, Mayer Category 3. They are the two on the road at the moment at the 4 of the race. Category 4 were the first riders out of the start pen, 5 minutes ahead of Category 3, as the Category 3 leader comes up onto the wheel of the Category 4 leader. Will Carsten Mayer just go over the top of JD Abello? Will Abello try and hold Mayer's wheel? Well, David Winfield is the rider behind, 6 seconds back, leading the Category 4 chase group.
So we have got JD Abello of the Triple M team setting the pace, getting a time gap on the rest. Carsten Mayer getting even bigger time gap back. That is going to be helping him in his pursuit of the team category for the Take That squad. And they have opened up the gap. Meanwhile, Jason Osborne has shed the shadow of Sage Safrazedi and has opened up the gap. So Osborne, the world champion on form, using that form that he has built to go into the World Championships, opening the gap on the riders behind. And at the moment, Osborne is starting to lead his team, the hard-to-guard squad, to an advantage in that team competition as they make their way up towards the top. Up towards the top of the climb. He's still got a fair distance. He's at 38.7k. The climb tops out at 44.5. So that is 34.5 to 44.5. 10k of ascent. We then have that last section in. Osborne leading category 1 on the left-hand side of your screen. Ivan Nuki, right-hand side of the screen, clearly inspired by what he saw last night in the finals. Absolutely flying here. Come on, Ivan.
Well, Ivan Nuki absolutely pushing on those pedals now in this Category 2 race. James Krasnich is the rider in view behind, 8 seconds back. Yozo Betty is now 16 seconds back to the chase group. And take a look at the power that Nuki is putting out there. Revs per minute at 50 because he's pushing such a big gear.
It's a huge gear. Look at the effort written all over Ivan Nuki's face here. And I'll tell you something, this man is a coach at the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. What an inspiration to have a coach out riding and racing, attacking, showing some great spirit, some real heart here as he goes into the climb. And that's what you want in your coach. Going to be heading down across in the next couple of days to the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. If you are in Abu Dhabi, make sure that you go over there. There's some amazing cycling facilities, an amazing cycling club, some great support from Wolfie's Bike Shop, who was supporting the championships and has supported MyWhoosh for a long, long time here. Ivan Nuki are one of those key people, and you can see him in action at the front of the race. He's being chased by James Krasnich at the moment. I'll tell you something, James Krasnich, this is another big score for him. He is a rider who I would never be surprised to see Krasnich move right the way through to the top of Category 1. Another really strong rider. Giselle Betty, another one of those riders who really, really just shows week in, week out that they're strong.
Well, James Krasnich has had a first and a third this month.
Yep.
And that first place came in Alula, coming up for the sprint. And it was a 3-up sprint into that finish line that day. And he took the win there against X100 and Peter Millerstick. So really, really strong riding, but he's the rider chasing Ivan Nuki at the moment.
Now, Mohamed Al Case, who's a long time on the front of the race at the front early on, now moving into the second part of the race, into the final sections. He's going to have 5 kilometers to go very shortly. He's at 39.5. Once he reaches that 40k mark, that's going to be key. But he has just been passed by Jason Osborne, the rider in yellow on our screens.
Oh,
in fact, Osborne's
that.
gone past Mads Buster as well. He's got Matthias Van He in his sights. But look at the power going down.
I tell you something, he's dropped Safrazedi. Safrazedi is 23 seconds back now because Osborne is doing what Osborne does.
He does. I mean, we saw that attack when he went clear, and I just thought, okay, he's got a little gap. Can he hold it? Safrazedi's been super strong, but Osborne, I think, clearly, there is the sort of it's one of those cycling legends almost, where when you take the rainbow jersey on, it just inspires you to even greater heights. And I think maybe pulling on that jersey, we saw it with McCarthy.
I wonder if he's racing in it
race
today.
I don't know if he's racing in it today. We will try and find out. Watch out on Jason Osborne's or our social media feeds at Matt Fixpen and at Biking Emma to see if he was racing
Look
in
at
that
the pack
today.
behind, though.
I know it's a big group that are chasing, but as they come up past SS here, the rider from the UAE clan team here in category 2 in that green skin suit, because he has won the sprint competition. He has those bragging rights as the sprint leader. The category 1 chase is going up through and past as SS is at 39.8k. Ivan Nuki at 40.5 kilometers. This is a real battle on the slopes of the Jebel Hafid that's seen so much great action over the years, both in the cycling esports rise as well as the riders heading up. So let's watch the riders. They are making the way up to the top of the climb. Our category 4 riders set off first, being followed by category 3, 2, and 1. The time gaps between 5 minutes between category 4 and 3. 10 minutes between category 3 and 2, 5 minutes between category 2 and 1. All riders can draft each other and absolutely flying their way around the course. We've got to make all 45 kilometers to the finish. This is a fantastic race. A massive thank you to our riders who were racing yesterday and all of our riders here today, keeping us entertained. They're doing a fantastic job as they make their way up the slopes, up towards the top of the climb. Plantero in this group with Kaminsky, with Milostic. This is going to be an interesting battle between these three.
Well, it always is an interesting battle in category 1, and the riders absolutely digging deep. But Michael Plantero, the French rider, now coming to the fore here ahead of Panizza, Milistic, and Kaminsky. And well, you can see who didn't race in the last 24 hours, who didn't lay it all down. But Plantero really starting to push on the Jebel Hafid.
So Plantero on the climb, working hard here, trying to make sure that he can make the most. A rider. This is a rider I expect to see in the next few years stood on that stage. We said it about the front of a lot of the category 1 race, but it's so true and that's one of the things, isn't it? With such strength in depth, Michael Plantero, Linda Milostic, Michael Kaminsky, Jason, the front of a Sunday race club is a who's who of esports cycling. There are very few riders able to compete at this level who do not compete regularly.
And the riders are getting better and better, and the gaps between them getting smaller and smaller. And Carsten Mayer, the rider, now at the head of this race. The category 4 riders were the first riders out of the pen. The category 3 riders have gone up and over the top. They've made the catch on that 5-minute start. Carsten Mayer at the front of the race at the moment, 27 seconds clear of the chase group of 4. Then it is going to be Kansara 10 seconds back. Kevin Horsley currently leading the category 4 race.
And leading the category 1 race on the left-hand side of your screen, Jason Osborne, who's ridden clear. Initially, Sayed Safrazedi had been there keeping him company, but it is Osborne on his own. Now we can drop in with Kevin Horsley. Let's take a look at the category 4 race. Remember, we try and cover as much of all 4 categories as is possible on the Sunday Race Club, week in, week out. It's not just about our elite riders here on MyWhoosh on the Sunday Race Club. Kevin Horsley. Now, Horsley's been riding really strongly in the category 4 racing. He's a rider who's been right up there. This is going to be a good result for him. He's being chased by JD Abella. He was our long-time leader who had got caught, but then it looks like he's got a second breath, and he's been able not only to stay with the riders who caught, and there's only really Horsley who's gone clear.
Well, Horsley likes the courses with climbing. You know, he won the September final on the course in Zurich. This month he's had a 3rd, and a 4th. But today in the October final, the Jebel Hafid absolutely suits Horsley down to the ground, and he's caught a bellow and now gone past him and is moving on to the latter stages of this race.
So all 4 categories on the slopes of the Jebel Hafid, this big climb in the United Arab Emirates, in the on the planet, in the world, in person. I was struggling for the word in person there. But it is the climb in Arabia on MyWhoosh. In the Arabian world, there are multiple worlds you can go ride on MyWhoosh. Do download it, jump on board, come and have a ride, go see just what this climb does, just how it changes in gradient, the amazing views of the top of the mountain to the sides of the riders. You can change the view that you're seeing yourself when you're riding. You can put the emotes down there. You can see who's around you, and we can see on the left-hand side of the screen Ivan Nuki at the moment. He is the rider leading Category 2. Behind him, it's a long, multicolored train of riders in all 4 categories. In Category 1 in yellow, Category 2 in green, Category 3 in blue, and Category 4 in red.
Well, I'll tell you someone who is coming up to the wheels of Ivan Nuki quickly, and that's Jason Osborne. He's gone through the entire Category 2 race field that started 5 minutes ahead of him, and he's only got Ivan Nuki ahead now, 9 seconds up the road. That's going to be a target for Osborne as he continues to climb the Jebel Hafit.
So closing down that gap, going past the field. Nuki's gap was 9. It's 8, now 7, now 6. You can see Ivan Nuki ahead. He saw Jason Osborne on the stage last night. He's going to see Jason Osborne on his screen coming up past him very shortly, because Osborne is flying up this climb. Meanwhile, Carsten Mayer is looking like he's into the last few hundred meters.
He is indeed, and Mayer has pulled away from the Category 3 pack. They're chasing hard behind. And there's going to be a battle for second, third and fourth, but there's no battle for first because Carsten Mayer has ridden away from the Category 3 race field. That's the UCI banner. Carsten Mayer, your winner for the October final on the Sunday Race Club, here at the top of the Jebel Hafit.
So the riders battling out, remember, for the prize in each of their individual categories. Carsten Mayer going to take away top spot in the racing in Category 3 behind the Category 2, 4 and 1 riders are all chasing the leaders coming in. Meanwhile, at the finishing line, our next rider through is going to be Patrick Karlstrom. He's going to take second place in Category 3. And then Stan Valigan coming in and through. We're just going to get confirmation of that. So I think it's going to be Mayer, Karlstrom, followed by Van Welligen, Ridley and Ramirez also in that top 5. All of the results as they come in live on the MyWhoosh.com website. You basically go to MyWhoosh.com, then go to results, and on there you'll find the race results. Next race leader heading to the finish.
Well, the next race leader heading to the finish is Kevin Horsley. He caught the long-time leader, JD Abello, and has gone up and over the top. It's a 7-second gap, but Horsley is going to take the win in Category 4 today. That's the banner. Horsley takes the win in Category 4. Abello not far behind, taking second. Cridland is going to take third place in Category 4 as our Category 3 riders continue to come over the line.
So more and more riders getting over the line, finishing their months racing here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club each and every Sunday of the year. We bring you the Sunday Race Club. MyWhoosh are absolutely amazing. Bringing such amazing racing, supporting the riders, supporting the esports community, bringing us racing, bringing us riding, bringing us training plans, and bringing us the world champion, Jason Osborne. He has rocketed through the field. He has flown up here. The speed of ascent into the high altitude of the top of the Jebel Hafit nearly complete for Osborne at 43.6, now 7 kilometers. The finish line comes at 45k. The banner that will come first is the climb banner to end the Jebel Hafit, the Hafit climb, finishing 500 meters before the finishing line. Now, we still do have some more leaders to come in. We've seen Category 3 come in through. We've seen Category 4 come in and through in terms of race finishes and wins. Category 2, it's still Ivan Nuki who is leading. He's being chased by James Krasnich. Nuki, top right-hand side of your screen. Krasnich, bottom left-hand side of your screen. You've got your 2 leaders in Category 1. You've got top left, Jason Osborne, and bottom right-hand side, Said Safranzadi, who is chasing. Thank you very much to the production team for making it diagonally across. That's really confusing my brain.
Well, whilst Matt's brain is confused, Jason Osborne isn't. The multi-time cycling esports world champion is working his way to the top of the Ebel Hafid and the finish line here today on the Sunday Race Club. He's picking up the riders and going past Category 2, Category 3 and Category 4 that all started ahead of those Category 1 racers.
What riding today by the riders out on Sunday Race Club. Now, say Safra Zadie will want to hold on to that second place. Remember, we have the team competition at stake as well. Now, 3 riders from each team's time, the fastest 3 riders in each team are put together. That's the minimum number of riders that you can have because that's the number that we calculate that time from. Jason Osborne at the moment from the Hard to Guard squad. At the front of the race. I know Michael Nussel not all that far behind him. Well, in the Hard to Guard squad. Saeed Safrazadi, well, he's making his way up here, looking at the stone, but Safrazadi, guess what team he's on?
He's Hard to Guard. What team is Jason Osborne?
Hard to Guard. Well, he doesn't need to guard the defence of the title much longer here. He's a regular winner. He's our winner here today as they come into the finish. Jason Osborne in Category 1, the world champion for 2024. The day after comes to the Sunday Race Club and shows just why he's the best. A win today on the Ebel Hafid.
Well, the skin suit goes yellow, a golden skin suit to match the golden medal that's hanging around the neck of Jason Osborne.
And behind we still have our Category 2, 3, 4, and lots of our riders out and racing. Don't forget, 4 race categories. Come and join our riders out and racing week in, week out. There's racing through the week. There are training sessions through the week. You can join Emma on a
little bit
session.
of live coaching.
Bit of live coaching. Don't forget, of course, we've got people who've been racing in the finals on that live coaching as well. Now, Ivan Yuki pulls on the polka dot skin suit because he's the highest point scorer in a Category 2. He's going to be our race winner in Category 2. He is practicing what he preaches when he's out there coaching. He has taken the win in Category 2 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club monthly finals. A great ride by Nuki to take away top spot. He is being chased to the line by second place in Category 1. That is Saeed Safrazadi, fighting over the top of the climb. An absolutely amazing ride by him. It's going to be a podium position for Michael Plantero. Plantero comes through in, I think, 3rd place here in Category 1. What a great ride by Michael Plantero of France. Behind Linda Milostic, taking away a 4th place here today.
Fabulous.
The youngster up in the prize money as well.
For the first time in Category 1.
He's taken podiums before, he's taken prize money before, but getting into that prize money in Category 1, always a step that our riders want to take. Now, you're going to see that Hard to God have got 2 riders in the team competition in Category 1. They're the first 2 riders through. Then it's Farmwhat Squad's Michael Plantero. Then the tractors, Linda Milostic. Remember, all of the race results, including that team result, on the MyWhoosh.com website. Emma, can you just run through the individual top 5s from Category 1, 2, 3, and 4?
I can. So in Category 1, Jason Osborne takes the win. Saeed Safrazadi in 2, Michael Plantero in 3, Linda Milostic in 4, Mikhail Kaminsky in 5. In Category 2, Ivan Yuki takes the win from James Krasnich, Christoph Thiem, Joselle Betty and David Nuki. In Category 3, it's Carsten Mayer from Karlstrom, Van Velligem, Ridley and Ramirez. And in Category 4, it is Horsley who takes the win from Abello, Cridland, Winfield and Zimmel.
So don't forget the team results and all of our riders' results up on the website on mywhoosh.com/results. Whilst you're online, don't forget to download on iOS, Android, Windows, and on Mac as well. Whatever platform you are running on, please do download MyWhoosh. Jump on board, come and join us out racing, training, riding. We are going to be wrapping up our monthly race finals. Before I do that, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody everybody who has watched today. A massive thank you to our riders for keeping us entertained. An even bigger thank you, I have to say, right this moment in time, to the team behind the scenes. They are behind our commentary box. For the very first time, we've been able to meet them in person. So much of the esports community out in the UAE this weekend. Please do come and join us. We love to hear and see what the whole of the esports community is up to. You can catch me at Matt Fixer Payne on Instagram. You can catch Emma at biking_. Emma will no doubt have a very entertaining episode of the Virtual Velo podcast coming out as well. So do catch up with Emma if she's got any voice at all left after this weekend when that's recorded. And don't forget, she's going to be on the training sessions as well. But the most important thing, give MyWhoosh a follow and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Enjoy your riding. But from myself, Matt Payne, from Emma Martin and the whole team that bring you the Sunday Race Club, enjoy your riding. Stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.